Starting to get really cold now. I'm not gonna film outside, so I want to drive around and had some thoughts around why you should consider buying a used car instead of a brand new one. I've owned a lot of cars in the past. I've had a few new ones, but mostly I end up buying a used car. Even when I want to get a newer car, I go for something that's around 2 to 3 years old, and I want to share why you should do that as well. So while the car is warming up, let's talk about number one reason, and that's cost. Any new car right now is around $25,000 to $30,000 brand new if you're going for a basic car, a commuter car. Let's say you're going for a Honda Civic. It's about $30,000 for a decent spec car today in Canada. Now you could buy a 5-year-old Honda Civic and it will still probably drive as new if it's maintained properly, and you're probably gonna save around $10,000 easily on that. So $10,000 in your pocket and you have a car that pretty much drives the same. Like cars that are commuter cars like Honda Civic, Toyota Corollas and Mazdas, they're pretty much the same. Like the only thing that really changes or has changed in the past few years is probably the audio system, the interior design, but from a functionality standpoint, there hasn't been a lot of changes. And if you buy an older car, you can always buy an aftermarket stereo like I have in this Mercedes right here, and then you can upgrade it to having CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff, and it still won't cost you about like 10 grand or cost for a new car. Now, another reason why you would want to have a used car over a brand new car is maintenance cost. At any given time, I can promise you that the maintenance cost is going to be cheaper on a used car than on a new car. Now, it sounds weird because a lot of people buy new cars because they don't want high maintenance cost. But if you look at the overall cost of ownership, you end up saving a lot of money when you have a used car. So let's say, and I keep taking an example of Honda Civic and Corollas because those are the regular commuter cars people buy, reliable cars, and they go for those cars because they know the maintenance cost is low, and that's why I want to use that as an example. So let's say you have a Honda Civic, you buy a brand new Honda Civic. An oil change on a brand new Honda Civic is going to cost you the exact same amount, if not a little bit more, than on a 5-year-old or 6-year-old Honda Civic. Brakes, they're going to cost pretty much the same, if not a little bit less on an older car, because older cars might have a little bit of definitely going to have older technology, so that you don't have to pay for new technology premiums. Anything to do with maintenance, even parts, used car is going to be cheaper than a brand new car. So for cars like Honda Civics and Corollas, like Toyota Corollas, Mazda 3 and stuff like that people usually buy, it's always going to be cheaper for you to own a used car. And in the last, like I said, in the last 3 years, in the last 4 years, 5 years, those cars haven't really significantly changed. Unless you're going for the adaptive cruise controls and you want the car to follow the other car. And to be honest, I had one of those features in my Honda Civic that I used to own, and I rarely used that feature. And especially if you're living in somewhere like Vancouver or anywhere in like Pacific Northwest where it rains a lot and the roads are windy because it's a mountainous area, you're probably not going to be comfortable using that feature. Now, the biggest one for me is the overall peace of mind of owning a used car. It's really cold. I'm going to get back in the car and then explain what I mean by that. So what I mean by peace of mind is when you have a used car and you're driving around or you're using it for your daily commute or whatever you're using it for, you're not really going to be worried about where you're going to park. Now, I'm still really careful where I park and park away from like traffic and busy spots so people don't ding my car. But if they scratch it here and there, yes, I'm gonna feel bad, but I'm not gonna feel as bad as I would if it was a brand new car. Same goes with, you know, just the overall maintenance of the car. If something happens to the car here and there, I feel less guilty personally when it's a used car than it's a brand new car. And then on top of that, if you really want to modify your car, you want to make changes to the car, you want to experiment with the car, you're going to be more open to do that on a used car than a new one. I really used to hesitate doing anything on my new cars whenever I own a new one. I have another car that I'm going to bring to this channel eventually. That's a family car that we use to go everywhere, and you know, it's a newer car, and I will show you guys that in another video. And even in that car, I hesitate to do anything because it's a newer car, and you know, it's a premium car. And it's just that whenever I want to touch anything on that, I'm like, oh, is it going to void the warranty? Is this going to do that and that? So I stay away from any modifications on that car. Now, I know you heard me talk about all these reasons why you should buy a used car over a new one, but that does not mean that new cars aren't good. There are many reasons why you should go for a newer car than for a used car. And I'll probably cover that in another video because this is more about buying a used car, owning a used car. And to be honest, for me personally, I would always go for a used car. And the older it is, the better I feel of tinkering with it and playing around with it. And that's why I bought this Mercedes. And that's why you're going to see me doing quite a few things to it. Not too crazy, but I'll be more comfortable doing things to it than I would do in a brand new car. Hopefully you found this video useful. It was a quick one. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys and see what you guys think. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.